So there I was, walking into this networking event, feeling like Beyonce at a Super Bowl halftime show. Okay, minus the wind and the flawless choreography. But I had recently learned that if you use someone's name continuously in conversation, you're seen as more influential. So I spot this woman from across the room who's standing by herself, and I walk up to her and I glance at her name tag. Now, if I'm being honest, I didn't really read it. I more skimmed it, kind of like you do email on a Monday morning. But I walked over to her and I said, "Hi, Latrice." And she seemed to smile. And I'm thinking to myself, nailed it. I start dropping her name every place I can think of to make her feel like a VIP. "Oh, Latrice, that's such a good idea. Oh, Latrice, I was thinking the same thing. Oh, Latrice. Oh, Latrice." Before you knew it, I thought of myself as the most influential person in the room until I overheard her introduce herself to someone else as Leatrice. Leatrice, how can I do that? I was mortified. And it wasn't the fact that I mispronounced her name that really got me. It was the fact that my ego got in the way. You see, karma came a knocking just a few months later. So there I am, Midtown, America, getting ready to deliver a keynote. And as I'm sitting off stage, I hear the announcer step up and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Mimi Brown." Did I just hear what I thought I heard? My name is Mimi, not Mimi. But I let it go. Then she did it again, "Mimi Brown." And this time I'm thinking, okay, my name isn't hard. It's one syllable and it repeats. But then she said it a third time. And I thought, do I correct her? Do I say something? Would it be rude? You know what? She is paying my check, so she can call me whatever she wants. And it's just a name, right? Wrong. I could feel a pit in my stomach. And it wasn't just because she mispronounced my name. It was the other feelings that cropped up for me. See, in that moment, I felt disregarded and dismissed. Now, here I am, the keynote speaker at this very large event with hundreds of people in a position of power, but I felt small. And I thought to myself, if I feel like that, just imagine how other people would feel in a similar situation. And then the light bulb went on. That's exactly how Leatrice must have felt when I kept calling her Latrice. You see, names are more than just sounds. They're more than just labels. Names are our point of connection with someone. It's our way to relate to someone. And when we properly pronounce someone's name, we're sending a powerful message. You matter. And this brings me to something deeper that I've learned along my journey. You see, I've been really privileged to coach leaders from all walks of life on how to harness their presence, communicate more effectively, and even being more influential. And what I've learned is influence doesn't come from grand gestures. It comes from small, subtle cues like getting someone's name right. And that's why this is so close to my heart. As someone who has gotten names wrong and had my own name mispronounced, I've learned that these small moments are where influence truly begins. And so today, we're going to explore how names and the way we use them are deeply connected to this concept of influence. Let me tell you about a childhood friend, Temeka, or at least that's what I thought until recently. For over 30 years, I thought her name was Tamika. We went to the same church, we went to rival high schools, we even went to the same college. So imagine my surprise as I read her Facebook post and realized I never really knew her name. When I asked her about this, she said, well, for years people called me Tamika, and I never corrected them. In fact, not even my family would correct them. I remember actually being at the doctor's office around 6 years old, and the nurse was running down the patient call list, Tamika Thurman, and her mother said, she's here. She never stopped and said, that's not how you pronounce her name. Since she didn't correct them, I didn't feel a need to. She said, I didn't start owning my real name until I was in college. I was floored. Can you imagine knowing someone, even loosely, for 30 years and never knowing their real name? And for so long, she let other people define her, not because she wanted to, but simply because no one, not even her family, thought it was necessary. Now, here's a twist. When Tameka started using her name as she went to apply for jobs, she wasn't getting any phone calls. On the advice of her boyfriend at the time, he said, why don't you change your name to Tommy? And it was crazy because the calls started flooding in. As she walked into her first interview, the interviewer looked at her shocked. You're Tommy? He asked. Surprised to see a woman. That small change, just tweaking her name, changed the trajectory of her job search. And dare I say, her life. And it wasn't just about changing her name. It was about how people saw her because of it. And this made me think, how do names affect the way we're perceived? And does that perception influence the opportunities that we're given? Names hold incredible power. And science even backs this up with something called the cocktail party effect. It's that phenomenon when you walk in a room or a crowded room and you can instantly hear your name. Our brains are wired to respond to our names. And studies show that hearing your name actually activates the prefrontal cortex in your brain. That's linked to identity and social recognition. And get this is even in people who are in a medically non-conscious state. So that means using someone's name correctly can make them feel seen and heard, like they matter, because they do. Now imagine all the missed opportunities when someone's name is overlooked or grossly mispronounced or even dismissed. If hearing your name can activate your brain in a medically non-responsive state, imagine what happens when you use it with intention, to encourage, to empower, to connect. How powerful is that? Now, let's take a look at how names hold significance across cultures. By the way, it's really important to me to pay respect and honor the indigenous cultures of the places that I visit. So naturally, in preparation for today, I wanted to get things right. And that's when I was introduced to Tyson, a librarian teacher at Mari language at Victoria University of Wellington. Tyson was kind enough to help me with my pronunciation. Now, let me tell you, I've been practicing a lot. But let's just say I'm still a work in progress, and I might have gotten close. But Tyson, if you're out there, hopefully you give me a B+ for effort. Here in New Zealand, the Maori culture's names are more than just labels. They honor the ancestors and connect to history. Maori names carry deep cultural meaning, and pronouncing them correctly shows respect for the person and their lineage. The Maori have a concept called whakapapa, meaning one's connection to the ancestors. Names are essential to whakapapa because they tell the stories of who came before. And the importance of names isn't just limited to the Maori culture. My American friend, Robert Kennedy III, was named after his father and his grandfather, continuing his legacy. It also reminds me of my friend, Vanita. You see, Vanita worked at an organization where a supplier who she worked with on a regular basis struggled with saying her name correctly. One day he looks at her and he says, can I just call you Nita? It's just a little easier for me. And reluctantly, she said, okay. But an older, wiser coworker walked up to her and asked, what did your mother name you? Venita, she said softly. Well, why don't you honor her and yourself by encouraging people to call you by your given name? You deserve that. See, the act of naming is profoundly impactful. Names do more than just give us a label. They tell our stories and shape our identities and celebrate the essence of who we are. So you're probably wondering, what does all of this mean? Well, I'm so glad you asked. When we get someone's name right, we're telling them, I see you. You belong. I respect you. And that's the foundation of influence. Influence is about projecting power or authority. It's about true connection. In today's world, we're super busy, kind of coming and going to different places, and we're often pulled in many different directions, and time with folks is short. And sometimes the first thing we overlook is someone's name, kind of like I did Leatrice when I first met her. But a name is often the first connection that we make with someone. Take Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. Her name, Kamala, means lotus flower in her South Asian heritage. It's a symbol of strength and resiliency. Despite holding one of the highest offices in American government, her name is often mispronounced, and sometimes deliberately. But here's the thing. It's not just about the name itself, it's about the respect and recognition that it holds. Kamala recognized this challenge and made it her business, made it her mission to help other people get it right. During the recent Democratic National Convention, actress Kerry Washington addressed this directly, saying, now I know some of y'all folks aren't sure how to pronounce Kamala's name. Confusion is understandable. Disrespect is not. Then Kamala's nieces, Amara and Leela, made their way onto the stage to teach everyone how to say her name. Kama, like a comma in a sentence, and la, like la, 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 and pull them together, and it's Kamala. They led the crowd in a fun call and response, creating a memorable way to remember her name. That's true influence. It's turning a potential barrier into an opportunity for connection. Now, let's be real. How many times have you met someone, you asked their name, and then you instantly forgot? Blink really hard 5 times if it's you. We've all done it. And there's a moment when you panic thinking, oh no, I've been talking to this person for 10 minutes and I have no clue what their name is. You might awkwardly try to reach your neck around and read their name tag if they're wearing one, or you're hoping that your colleague across the room swoops in and says their name and saves the day. And then you realize you're out on an island by yourself. So you resort to saying, hey, friend, hey, buddy, hoping they don't notice. But what if instead of just trying to cover it up, we just asked again? I know that people appreciate the effort, and it's so much better than pretending that you remember. One of my favorite lines to use, and when I'm in that situation, is, remind me of your name again. Because I knew it at some point. And then I flashed my $1 million smile to ease the tension. As Dale Carnegie, the author of How to Win Friends and Influence People, once said, a person's name to that person is the sweetest sound in any language. And I want to add to that. The sweetest sound to someone is of their correctly pronounced and preferred name. So, how can we use the power of names to build stronger connections? 4 simple steps. Listen and learn. When you ask someone how to pronounce their name, don't just rush it, get it right. Number 2 is use their name regularly. People love to hear their name in conversation, it creates connection. Avoid nicknames, and this one's really important to me. Don't shorten or change someone's name simply because it makes you feel better. Ask them their preference. Interestingly enough, I had a coworker named Dave, or at least that's the way he was introduced to me. I noticed over the course of a few months, he kept referring to himself on the phone as, "This is David," or even in correspondence or emails, signed David. One day I asked him, I said, "Hey, Dave, what name do you prefer?" And he said, "I've been David all the way up till I worked here, and then all of a sudden someone changed it. No big deal, right?" But it is a big deal. Don't we deserve to be called the name we prefer? And number 4, correct and confirm. If you get their name wrong or you mispronounce it, fess up. Try again. It's not about perfection. It's about showing that you care. It was interesting. As I chatted with Leatrice, who is now a close friend of mine, I asked her the difference that it makes when someone gets her name correct. And she said something that stopped me in my tracks. She said, "If someone cares enough to get my name correct, something seemingly small, then I know they care about something more bigger than that. They care about things that shape who I am and what I stand for." And so here's my challenge to you. The next time that you're out and about, lean in and ask someone their name. And if you're having struggles with pronouncing it, ask them again. See how that small, seemingly small moment can create massive impact for you and for them.